With the success of the Sovereign class, Starfleet Command began considering a plethora of starship designs based on that aesthetic and technology. And one of these classes, the Excalibur class, would end up becoming a valuable part of the infrastructure of the Federation. But what do we know about this creative design? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Excalibur class as first seen in Star Trek Online to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, due to Star Trek Online's age and certain elements which now directly conflict with canon itself, I've had to alter the history of this class slightly to comport with these changes. Being a beta tester for Star Trek Online and playing it through the years, I became well versed with the Excalibur class, and pray to the prophets that the team members of STO enjoy and understand the changes that I made to her tale. But of course, and as always, because this is just a beta canon video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. After the Battle of Sector 001, the Sovereign class was declared a complete success by both Starfleet Command and the Federation's public at large. With most of the Federation flagship's missions surrounding the battle quickly classified by Starfleet Command, all the public really knew was that the Enterprise-E had arrived in Sector 001, just in the nick of time to take command of the fleet and destroy the Borg cube. The truth, of course, was far more expansive than the public at the time would ever know, with the previously assimilated Captain Jean-Luc Picard disobeying direct orders, showing up at Earth using the fact that he could still hear the Borg's voices to outwit them, and finding a vulnerability that he then used to destroy the cube. Having lived through the disaster of the Battle of Wolf 359 and the subsequent decommissioning of many of the Project Galaxy starship designs, Starfleet Command was willing to jump on the Sovereign class bandwagon, a political move they hoped would reaffirm faith for their organization. At the time of the Battle of Sector 001, only 2 starships of the Sovereign class had been commissioned, and so almost immediately after the outpouring of love for that class, Starfleet Command would begin a massive Sovereign class construction program. But several problems would plague the construction program, delaying its commencement. And with war on the horizon with the Dominion, Starfleet Command could ill afford to divert the resources needed for such a project. In fact, by the end of the Dominion War, only 7 Sovereign-class vessels were in active duty. Like most new technologies, however, as time went on, new and faster techniques would be born, and by the late 2370s, Starfleet Command was finally able to embark on the massive construction program that they had been promising the citizens of the Federation. And although having a much faster turnaround, the truth was, it was still a slower process, simply due to the Sovereign class's massive size. And this fact alone would see Starfleet Command approach one of its Sovereign class's main starship designers, Montgomery Scott, to create a far smaller, yet powerful design utilizing the same Sovereign technologies and aesthetics. Having himself served on what was considered the Sovereign class of its day, the Constitution class, Montgomery Scott would pour his heart into this design, which would see the familiar lines of the Constitution class brought back to life. And in 2381, the Excalibur class would be born. Sitting at a length of 350 meters, the Excalibur class would be designed to be operated by 400 officers and crew members. Containing a specially designed Type 8 warp core, the Excalibur class would have a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 7, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9.6 for 12-hour increments. However, shortly after its launch, with improvements in the technology, the standard safe cruising speed of the Excalibur class would be increased to warp factor 8, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9.91 for 12-hour increments. Tactically, the Excalibur class packed quite a punch for a vessel class its size, containing both Type 10 phaser emitter arrays, as well as forward and aft torpedo launching systems capable of firing photon and quantum torpedoes. Its shield systems were the standard multispectral regenerative type included in most vessel classes of the era. However, thanks to its reinforced hull plating, the Excalibur class could actually last quite a long time in a firefight. Due to the mission profile of the Excalibur class, she would contain an expansive and specially designed cargo facility. Housing various industrial replicators, the Excalibur class could in theory build an entire colony or starbase with relative ease. A single large shuttle bay would be located in the traditional position it originally held in the Constitution class design, in the aft section of the secondary hull. This shuttle bay, however, would be equipped with far more construction-style auxiliary spacecraft than that of her earlier exploration-style ancestor. It was Starfleet Command's hope that, like the Miranda class, the Excalibur class would end up becoming a jack-of-all-trades in a starship design. But this would not happen. Events of the late 24th century, such as the synth attack on Mars, and the cooperative efforts between the Free Romulan Republic and the United Federation of Planets, would all conspire against the Excalibur class. Due to the destruction of 2/3 of its fleet during the synth attack, construction and development of this class would be slowed in favor of the easily constructed, assembly line style of design known as the Inquiry class. And by the time that Starfleet Command had resumed its normal starship construction practices, developments of the technologies acquired from the Borg Reclamation Project made the Excalibur class virtually obsolete overnight. And thus, in the end, only 33 starships of the Excalibur class were ever constructed, and the class would never be considered a true successor to the Constitution class legacy. But it should be noted that the Excalibur class, though out of date, would be kept up to date in replication and construction technology, allowing this class to continue well into the 25th century, building some of the most impressive colonies, outposts, and starbases within the Federation. Built to be a jack-of-all-trades, the Excalibur class would instead become an important class within the infrastructure program needed for the United Federation of Planets, earning this creative class its workhorse place in Starfleet history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Excalibur class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel build a colony world the likes of which no one has seen before? Then consider becoming a channel patron, a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to our Patreon account is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Live long and prosper.